"You miserable son of a, I gave you my heart. I gave you my soul. I gave you everything, and you threw me away like garbage." It sounded like something written for television. Raw, emotional, explosive. But the real drama wasn't happening on screen. It was happening behind it. For years, millions of fans watched one of television's biggest sitcoms without knowing that a silent war was unfolding behind the laughter. A war driven by ego, addiction, betrayal, and revenge. And when it finally ended, it didn't end quietly. It ended with a falling piano. This is the story of how the most successful sitcom empire of its time collapsed under the weight of its own star, and why the ending was far more personal than anyone realized. The story begins long before the controversy, before the headlines, before the meltdown. It begins in 2002, inside a bar in Los Angeles. A television creator sat listening to a friend talk about his life, divorced, struggling, raising a child while living with his wildly irresponsible brother. It was chaotic, frustrating, and unexpectedly funny. That conversation sparked an idea. What if you took two completely opposite brothers, one responsible, one reckless, and forced them to live together? The concept was simple, but powerful. One was uptight and cautious. The other was carefree, selfish, and completely unfiltered. Between them stood a child, watching and learning from both. It was a perfect formula for comedy, but getting it on air was anything but easy. Network executives weren't convinced. The show was expensive, risky, unpredictable. At one point, it nearly died before the first episode was even filmed. The creator made a desperate decision. He cut his own salary just to keep the show alive. It was a gamble that would change television history. Because when the show finally premiered in September 2003, something unexpected happened. People loved it. Despite mixed reviews from critics, audiences couldn't get enough. Viewers connected with the characters, especially the charming, irresponsible bachelor at the center of it all, Charlie Harper. He was funny, selfish, flawed, and strangely relatable. He drank too much, avoided responsibility, and lived exactly the kind of reckless life most people secretly fantasized about. But what made the character truly magnetic wasn't just the writing. It was the man playing him. Charlie Sheen wasn't acting. He was amplifying parts of himself. His natural charisma blurred the line between fiction and reality. Audiences couldn't tell where Charlie Harper ended and Charlie Sheen began. That authenticity turned the show into a phenomenon. By its third season, it was dominating television. Millions tuned in every week. Advertisers paid enormous sums just to be part of it. And Charlie Sheen became the most valuable man in television. With success came power. And with power came leverage. By 2010, Sheen was already earning nearly $1 million per episode. But he wanted more. Much more. He demanded $2 million per episode. It was an outrageous number. Unheard of, but the network faced an impossible choice. The show's success depended on him. Without him, the empire would collapse. So, they gave him what he wanted. Charlie Sheen became the highest-paid actor in television history. He had everything: money, fame, and complete creative influence. But behind the scenes, cracks were already forming. His behavior became unpredictable. He showed up late, sometimes intoxicated, sometimes unable to perform. Scripts were rewritten at the last minute just to accommodate him. Tension grew between Sheen and the show's creator. Their relationship slowly deteriorated, transforming from partnership into rivalry. At first, the network tolerated it. The ratings were too valuable to risk losing him. But then everything changed. In late 2010, Sheen's personal life began spiraling out of control. There were arrests, hospital visits, rehab stints, public incidents that made headlines around the world. Production delays became frequent. The entire crew was forced to wait while uncertainty hung over the future of the show. Still, the network tried to help him. They paused production, hoping he would recover. Instead, he did something no one expected. He went to war. In early 2011, Sheen began giving interviews. Not calm, measured interviews, but explosive, unpredictable rants. He insulted the show's creator publicly, calling him names, attacking his character, and accusing him of betrayal. He declared himself unstoppable. He said he had tiger blood. He claimed he was winning. The phrases spread across the internet like wildfire. Millions watched in fascination. Some were shocked. Others couldn't look away. But behind the scenes, the damage was irreversible. The network faced a devastating reality. Their biggest star had become their biggest liability. In March 2011, they made the decision no one thought possible. They fired him. Just like that, the most valuable actor in television was gone. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. Hundreds of crew members were suddenly out of work. Millions of dollars were lost. The future of the show was uncertain. And Charlie Sheen didn't accept it quietly. He filed a massive lawsuit demanding compensation and accusing the network of betrayal. It was a bitter, public battle between the star who built the empire and the people who created it. Eventually, a settlement was reached behind closed doors. The details were never fully revealed. But the damage to relationships, reputations, and trust was permanent. The show now faced its greatest challenge. How do you continue without the man who defined it? For months, uncertainty hung over everything. Some believed the show would end forever. Then, unexpectedly, a solution emerged. A new character, a new star, a billionaire outsider who would inherit the beach house and reshape the story. When he appeared for the first time, millions tuned in, curious to see whether the impossible could be done. Could the show survive without Charlie Sheen? Surprisingly, it did. The new character brought a different energy. Less reckless, more vulnerable, still wealthy, still flawed, but human in a different way. The show reinvented itself, but the shadow of Charlie Harper never disappeared. His absence lingered over every episode, and as the years passed, fans wondered if he would ever return. Meanwhile, another unexpected controversy emerged. Angus T. Jones, the young actor who played Jake, had grown up on the show. It had made him rich and famous. But as he got older, his feelings changed. He underwent a personal transformation, embracing new religious beliefs. Then, suddenly, he publicly criticized the show that had defined his life. He called it filth. He told fans to stop watching it. The statement shocked everyone. It wasn't just criticism. It was rejection. The actor who had grown up on screen was walking away, not just physically but morally. His departure marked the end of another era. The show continued, but it was no longer the same empire it once was. Eventually, after more than a decade, the decision was made. It was time to end it, but the creators had one final surprise waiting. The final episode was surrounded by secrecy. Rumors spread that Charlie Harper might return. Fans hoped for closure. They waited for redemption. Instead, they got something else entirely. In the final moments, a man approached the beach house. His face wasn't shown clearly, but everything about him suggested one thing. Charlie Harper had come home. He reached the door. He was seconds away from entering. Then it happened. Out of nowhere, a grand piano fell from the sky. It crushed him instantly. The scene lasted only seconds, but its meaning was unmistakable. It was shocking, absurd, darkly comedic, and deeply symbolic. It wasn't just the end of a character. It was the end of an era. Fans reacted immediately. Some laughed. Others were stunned. Many debated whether it was brilliant or cruel. But everyone agreed on one thing. It was unforgettable. Behind the humor was something deeper. A message. The empire had survived. The show had endured. And the man who once ruled it no longer held power over its ending. In the years that followed, the cast moved on with their lives. Some found new success. Others stepped away from the spotlight entirely. Charlie Sheen faced new challenges, including serious health revelations and a long journey toward rebuilding his life. Over time, his anger faded. His perspective changed. He admitted regret. He acknowledged his mistakes. The man who once declared himself unstoppable now understood how fragile success truly was. His story became more than just a celebrity scandal. It became a cautionary tale, a reminder that fame, power and fortune can disappear faster than anyone expects, and that sometimes the greatest threat to success isn't external, it's internal. Today, the legacy of the show remains complicated. It was one of the most successful sitcoms in television history. It made stars, built fortunes, defined an era, but it also revealed the cost of ego, addiction, and unchecked power. In the end, the piano wasn't just a joke. It was a symbol of closure, of consequence, of finality, because behind every empire built on personality, there's a truth few people want to admit. No matter how powerful someone becomes, the show always goes on without them. And sometimes when it ends exactly the way it began, with shock, with drama, and with millions watching.